belong to a church. Well, then we'll set up a system where judges or justice of the peace can marry you. And there's precedent, not exactly for judges or justice of the peace, but ship's captains for years were allowed to perform marriages. Sure. That was back when you were on a ship for 3-4 months at a time, crossing the ocean. But that was a civil position that performed marriages. So judges should be allowed to. And people said, oh, okay. And they never thought about the implication. With that one thing, marriage absolutely 100% went from being a religious institution to something that's decided by the law. It's a judge that decides you're allowed to get married. And if a judge is allowed to perform the marriage, then divorce, annulment, separation, that should all come into the power of the court. There are still churches that retain their power simply by saying, okay, fine, you got a divorce, you didn't get it through us, so you're not allowed to partake of the rituals of our service. You can sit in the church, you can attend services, but you can't come up and partake. And unfortunately, people stop caring. Oh, I can get what I want though. I can get the divorce right, and I can still attend church. Okay. It's good enough. Nowadays, most people don't even think about the fact that you have to go to a government office to get a license to be allowed to be married. And that you can go through the most elaborate, the most complex religious ceremony that has ever been devised, and you're not married until the minister sends a piece of paper, a certified piece of paper, back to the government. As soon as that piece of paper gets to the government, you are considered legally married. The church no longer has anything to do with it, all because of a health concern. Complete power was taken away from the church. Marriage now is just some hollow ceremony they perform. And it has become hollow because it used to be the church was the power behind it. Now everybody knows the church isn't the power behind it. It used to be here in Franklin County, well, it used to be when I first got ordained, went downtown, applied for a license, and they actually gave me a license number to allow me to commit marriage. Oh, like 007. Dum, 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 dum. And it used to be on the marriage certificate, you had to write in your license number in order for it to be official. A license number given to me by the state. I had to put that number on the certificate to make it official. Again, the state is saying we are making it official. And then it used to be that I had to have a couple witnesses sign it. Now, there's no place for witnesses, and there's no place for my license. All I have to do is sign it, mail it back in. Now, it varies somewhat from county to county in Ohio, but most of the counties are going to that system. Actually, I don't know if the state even issues a license anymore, because the minister doesn't really matter. Who cares if you're an official minister who performed the ceremony anymore? It's all in the hands of the state. They own it, they control it. We have a blood test to make sure you are healthy and safe, and now they absolutely control every aspect of marriage. And it's gotten worse. Most of those health departments were local health departments, city health departments. The license is issued by your county. When I was licensed to be allowed to commit marriage, and I just like being able to say commit marriage, it was by the state. Now, there are people in Congress, both the House and Senate, who want to pass a federal law dictating by federal law who is allowed to be married and who's not allowed to be married. Same-sex marriages under this law will be completely illegal by federal law. We went from the church being totally in control of marriage, to the federal government dictating who can and cannot marry. And once you give them that power, government never saw an issue that they could create a bureaucracy for. Once you give them that power, where do they stop? It's a scary thought. If religion was still the sole control of marriage, we wouldn't be having all of this debate about same-sex marriages. Churches such as spiritualism that recognize the soul as being most important would be performing them. And by that one federal law that was passed a long time ago that said that a marriage performed in one church must be accepted by all other states, they could travel anywhere in America and be recognized as married. It wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be things that are being fought about and argued about and protested and debated, and it wouldn't be in the hands of the federal government trying to decide. And I have to say, history has taught us lessons about giving power to the federal government. There's a lot of countries all over the world that as a centralized government gains more and more control over every aspect of your life, where will it end? Seems ludicrous to say this, but could it come to a point where they'll say, oh, no, you two people can't get married because we don't feel you'll produce proper, good, strong, working class people, and we need good laborers for in the fields and stuff, so you two can't marry. May seem ridiculous, but there are communist countries where the state determines, the federal government determines where you work. We predict we're going to have a shortage of farm laborers, so even though you want to be a doctor, you're going to go work in the farms. So is it much further step to be able to say, we need more farm laborers, you two look like you could produce good farm laborers, we insist you marry?